Hello, everyone. You're in the office with Joseph Skoda. G.I. Joe Skoda, the guy that wears the funny hat. Now, for years, I've been bringing you different guests we've had. We've had musicians. You see the music symbols behind me. We've had actors and actresses, and we've had a lot of business owners, leadership, coaches, everything else. But today, and I don't do a lot of these, we're actually going to interview an author. And it's very interesting. Let me tell you a little bit about her bio before I introduce her. Andrea, we call the Global Voice Mason, and you can look her up on andreamasons.com, has well over 2 decades of experience in personal and professional development, in social work, and in psychology. She is certified as a global motivational speaker and coach under the mentorship, and you can all agree with me, the one and only Dr. Les Brown as well. She's a certified business entrepreneur, certified professional organizer. The list goes on and on. But you can tell she's also an Amazon's #1 best-selling international author, contributing her heartfelt story of an international anthology, a featured speaker in several global magazines, including New York City's Latino Travel Fest, where in 2023, featured speaker. And last but not least, she is your personal accountability coach and popular global voice and CEO of Press Play Plan Life According to You. Listen to that. Press play. Plan life according to you. So please help me welcome Andrea. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Hello, Joe. Thank you so much. I love the hat. It's all about authenticity, character, and integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor, privilege, and pleasure to be here. My name is Andrea Mason. Thank you for having me for your show.
Absolutely. No, we're glad to have you here. And like I said, I don't do a lot of authors, and I have the background of music because it's an artist. I believe if you're a musician, if you're draw pictures, take pictures, if you write books, it's a creativity that a lot of us don't have, a creative part of our brains. And so I want to put that up there to recognize you as an artist. And obviously, you're an author, but very interested. I know a little bit about your background, and you're all over social media and Facebook and YouTube and your books and over and over. I thought I was everywhere, but no, you're everywhere, and that's interesting. And it caught my eye in your message. But tell us a little bit about the book you've most recently written. I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yes. So the book that I had written is called Victim to Victorious, and it is a guide, if you will, but a journey through my life going from victim to victorious. I was born in a young age, 11 months, 11 pounds, transferred to America from Colombia, South America during the cartel. My parents were unable to care for themselves, so they put me up for adoption. And I was welcomed in open arms with an American family with unconditional love. But as I was their treasure, who knew tragedy awaits? And as the tragedy began was because I didn't look like my family, have the same features, tonality, as well as some of the characteristics that they've obtained and acquired being from South America, I'll never forget. The kids could be cruel at times, and they are, said, well, if your parents didn't love you, how can you love someone else? Well, Joe, that was the downward spiral of victim to victorious. I've got abused and bullied because I didn't fit in. I was always looking for that missing piece of the puzzle. I didn't have medical records, pictures, photographs, or anything of my family. So you would think with a blank slate, it would be amazing. But it was a difficulty because throughout life's adversities, I was able to carve out my own true identity. And when I decided to go through this path, I decided I was going to be the face of change in mental health and allow people to rise and unite as opposed to conquer and divide, which brought me into the industries of social work and psychology.
That's interesting, especially as children. Almost don't doesn't matter where you're from. They're just bullying. You always have somebody going to pick on someone else. And usually, as we get older, at least as in our teens, we learn to stand up for ourselves, and hopefully, we have some friends that's going to help us out, if nothing else. But you and I have seen people that kind of not just bullied as kids, but even into adulthood. And when that happens, it's really hard to turn that mindset around. How did you turn from being a victim to being victorious? What are some of your secrets?
Absolutely. So, one of the self explorations that I've learned through my journey is the healing power of forgiveness. Not only to forgive others and not to forget, but what are the takeaway messages? What are the lessons that are learned? And to understand that it's not a reflection of you, but of the individual. And most importantly, what we do still at this day and age, Joe, that we have difficulty acquiring is the forgiveness of ourselves. Louis B. Smead says, and paraphrased, his quote is to set a prisoner free is to realize the prisoner is you in the journey of forgiveness. Obviously, that's paraphrased. And that was something I took to heart because, we have all this baggage in our lives, all these false limiting beliefs, the naysayers, the non believers. And we live in this hamster wheel, if you will, that if we don't face our past will continue to chase us. And when I had that epiphany, you know what? I'm going to forgive the individual. If I don't do it in person, I'll do it in paper. If I don't do it on paper, I'll do it in my mind. But the one person I must forgive first and foremost is my reflection. And that took me on the path less traveled of the healing power of forgiveness to achieve personal freedom. As my mentor, Dr. Les Brown, says, the African proverb if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. Back to you, John.
Wow, no, that is huge because you're right. We can almost forgive anyone, almost forgive everyone, but we always have that self doubt in ourselves. And what do we do that caused the bullying or people to push us to the side? I remember a few years ago, I had a good friend of mine used to kind of put me down, not directly, but nonchalantly every now and then. And it didn't bother me. I've known her, okay, whatever. She just that's who she is. But someone else came aside and said, "Why do you let her talk to you that way?" And I never thought she was bullying me or picking on me, just nitpicking back and forth. And I'm not going to go into details there. Still a good friend of mine, but and I confronted her. I says, "Well, why do you always talk to me this way?" You know what she told me? She told me because you let me.
What?
She says,
Yes.
"I
Yes.
you kind of
Give
gave
me
me
permission.
permission to treat you
Yes.
that way." Right.
Absolutely.
So what you're talking
Absolutely.
about is huge. When we stand up and look in the mirror, like, hold on, I'm valuable too,
Yes.
and that's a tough thing to conquer sometimes. So,
Absolutely.
absolutely,
Absolutely. Yes. And it's one of the things that I've learned on this global trek virtually since the world had changed and speaking on every continent is that the underlying thread of the status of humanity is we want to be loved, we want to be respected, and we want to be understood. And if we could put those values and ethics in place first and foremost, then the rest is just acting with kindness, authenticity, and integrity.
that's true, and I think I was talking during the break that I travel a lot, or used to travel a
Yes.
lot, and we all want the same things. Every
Yes.
culture wants the same things. We all want love. We want to be able to provide for our families, have a little financial security, freedom.
Yes,
We all
absolutely.
want the same things. We might go about it a little differently. Deep down
Right.
inside, we want to come home and go to bed at night and feel. We want our family to feel safe and secure. That's interesting.
Absolutely. And what makes us different makes us authentic. And that's what allows each other to help one another fill each other's gaps. If there's an area of improvement that you may require support on, then that could be somebody else's strength. And that's what I've learned in networking and communicating and connecting with individuals. It's a win win situation. How can we barter, if you will, our services to really enhance our mission and message?
Sure, that's a real good point. So, when did you decide that I don't know, wanted to kind of stand up for yourself and start writing, and start doing podcasts and start coaching? When did the light click on where you decide I got to make a change?
Every failure that I had in life, whether it was a restructuring of a job, severed relationship, loss of a family member, and just the way the world was turning of conquering and dividing. I didn't want to accept that anymore. It wasn't what my pet peeve phrase is. It is what it is. No, we have a choice. We can be inactive or proactive. And not doing anything or not choosing to do either is also a choice. And when I realized I had the ability and the empowerment within that I can make an investment in everything that I do, every choice that I make, the food that I eat, the people I hang around with, the music that I listen to, the videos I watch is all by selection of choice. And to be quite honest, these past few years, I have been I could probably be the poster child for living under a rock. I do not turn on the TV nor the radio. Anything I put on is what I choose. And so to be not only an influencer and a content creator, it is difficult to refrain from the outside world. But as an empath and somebody who wants to impact someone and allow them to see the potential and exceed their fullest potential, I need to be grounded within my own awareness and balance of life, as well as being at my best self. If I'm unable to give 100%, then I will pass on the opportunity because time is a gift that cannot be wasted nor taken advantage of and never given back. So it's a precious present, being in the present. And I make sure that that is very clear with my words that I choose, the mindset that I have, and the people I connect with.
No, absolutely love how you said that. And I remember we first logged on just I don't know, a few minutes ago or so, and you had that smile on, excited to be involved. And I
Yes.
realized those of us, I have a smile. I choose every morning to have a smile on my face. I choose every night to go to bed in a fairly happy mood. And
Right.
that's interesting. The less that we're influenced by the outside world, kind of the happier we are because we
Yes.
don't need to put up with all that BS per
Toxicity,
se.
the
Right.
influence, the program, and the manipulation. And that's what I say. If you have a rough day or you're going having a tough spell, just say the word
Good.
happy. You can't say the word happy without smiling. And the shift of frequency and energy in your being will make a world of difference.
Does. It does. And I love that. You gotta be happy. I interviewed
Yes.
someone not too long ago. I don't think she knows how to frown. It's no her
Yeah,
secret.
that's
I don't
good.
think
It
she
is
knows how to frown. I
it's
think
a
she
good
has a
exercise. It is a
it's a
good
good
exercise.
exercise. I think it's tattooed on her face or so. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
a clown, you only paint a face, a smile on there.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
other people I know, close friends, you can't get them to smile.
Right.
It's
And
like,
I've been on that side, absolutely. I've
yeah.
been there. Like, really, I've been there. So that's why I don't judge, dictate, or lecture. It's just, you have a choice. And when we realize that we have patience, passion, and the choice to pursue progress, then the rest is up to you.
Rest is up to us. That's
Yes.
a real good point, a really good insight there. So I
Yes.
know you've been doing a lot of podcasts too. Tell
Yes.
us all about well, what's that about, or what's your focus on your different podcasts.
Yes. So, as far as being a guest on podcasts as well as hosting my own podcast, it really gives the ability, everything in life is given to us as a tool, a treasure, or a technique. And it's what you do with it. So my ability, because I'm unable to plant my feet in the soil as of yet, globally, because of the way the world is at this moment, I want to connect with people virtually and across the waters and borders. And that's what just really helped me enhance my mission to really understand people, to really connect with people on different podcasts of their morale, their frequency, what they're going through. And everybody has a book of life. It's just a matter of what page or stage you're in and are you ready to turn and then to the next page. And so I've just decided to make a choice. The best way is creating relationships, and it's a rippling effect, if you will, to connect somebody and saying, hey, I know somebody. If I'm unable to provide a service, I can refer you or outsource you to somebody because somebody's listening, somebody's watching somewhere, regardless.
That's a good point. In fact, tomorrow I'm speaking. I'm a Toastmaster,
Oh,
and
awesome.
I happen to be a president of a club in Singapore, thanks to Zoom Airlines that we have.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
tomorrow, right, and tomorrow my club will probably have 10, between 10 to 12 different countries involved in
Yes.
the meeting.
Yes,
And it's
absolutely.
funny how the world opened up due to this new medium that we utilize more often now. And And
Absolutely.
that's how we become closer together rather than just what the news tells us how we're supposed to act or react
Absolutely.
toward each other. Yeah, very good point.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And it's just amazing to see the different cultures. When I speak in Asia and Africa, the passion that the community has, yearning for education and learning. And so I bring that back to the states of North America and South America to really understand your determination, drive, and dedication, because that's what it's about. People who in these companies these countries, pardon me, where I've spoken have very minimal. I came from a minimal, developing country at that time. So I'm going back to my roots, remembering where I came from, and just provide a service that I can just pay it forward and help individuals.
Sure, those are big challenges. So, obviously, you were adopted, and your family loved you and brought you up the best they could. And
Yes,
so, were there a lot of? Well, you mentioned a little bit of you didn't maybe look like your family, your adopted family per
correct.
se. Were there issues with I don't know, cousins or aunts and uncles, or they just all embraced you?
They all embraced me, as I got older, some of my features, I guess, kind of transformed to my family's mannerisms. My family was what you call Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, that I mentioned in my book, as well as, the Italian and Irish descent. And so when I came abroad, I brought my internal passions and tools that I didn't know I had. So it really was a good gel, a good mesh of frequency, energy, emotion. And one of the things that I hold true, that I embrace from my childhood in a positive light, is, family. And in the words of Disney's Lilo and Stitch, is Ohana means family. Nobody gets left behind nor forgotten. And what I've added on to that is family doesn't have to be defined by blood, because I don't have any blood relatives at this moment here existing that I'm aware of. And so family can be those in your office, family can be those in your groups, in your virtual communities. It's really, family is, I believe, the unconditional love and the unconditional support that you have for one another to pursue their dreams and to support one another wholeheartedly.
That's interesting how you talked about that. One of my best friends growing up, he was adopted.
Hmm.
And like school kids, get picked on. Oh, your parents didn't love you and didn't want to
Yep.
be with you.
Yes.
What he used to say is like, "Yeah, my parents chose me. Your parents are stuck with you."
Yes. Yes. It's funny you mentioned that, because the book that I got when I was
Yeah,
younger was Why Was I Adopted? And the image on the front cover is a young child in a storefront window and parents outside excited to select them. And like I said, my family said I was a treasure and selected, and it was a treasure. It is still a treasure. I'm very grateful for all that I've learned, because if you live life with regrets, then you're never moving forward. You have to face your past, or else your past will
right.
continue to chase you.
That's right. I talk about regrets a lot, and we all have those chips on our shoulder. We all
Sure.
have those negative thoughts. We have the
Yes.
woulda, coulda, shouldas in our lives and
Yep.
different things like that, and we have to overcome. So
Absolutely.
when you wake up in the morning, obviously we're not always creative when we wake up. Some days we just want to stay in bed all day.
Right.
But when do you get the inspiration to go out and do something different? What inspires you?
Absolutely. What inspires me is my family, but most importantly, the gratitude attitude. Grateful for every experience, grateful for every loss, grateful for every mishap, because if you don't reflect, then you can't emulate and project what you want to do in life. So I have a routine before I get out of bed. I say grateful for the things that I'm grateful for. It could be 3 to 5 things, depending on the day and the mood. But then I always connect with nature and listen to 2 guided meditations of the amazing Abraham Hicks. And it's called The Morning Rampage. And one is, today is a great day. And then the second video, it's a compilation of like 25 minutes in total. But the second one is Everything is Working Out for Me. And when I had studied all of the virtual coaches and the late great Bob Proctor of The Secret, thoughts become things, it really changed my life. And, briefly in 2006, 16, after the loss of my adoptive mother in 2007, I suppressed it. We talk about the suppression of emotions. You don't want to deal with it. You just grind and stay forward. And tunnel vision can be either perceived as positive or negative. Positive, that you have direct vision and alignment with where you're going, or you can have tunnel vision and just close out everything and just be kind of flat affect and morbid, if you will. And so when I studied the law of attraction and really realized our thoughts became things, I was able to relieve myself from a terminal condition of myasthenia gravis, stage 5, that just occurred to me one day as I was on my way to work. And I remember halfway through my hospitalization, my family said, "This is not the life you need. You need to come home. We need you home. We miss you." And I just remember the spoiler alert in The Secret, where Mr. Bob Proctor talks about mind over matter and thoughts became things. He expressed, we emulate the emotions, the physical rehabilitations and mindset of perspective of where we're going to go. And then after I did that, less than 24 hours or so, I was released and have, knock on wood, a clean bill of health since then.
I appreciate you, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, The Secret.
Yes.
I'm very familiar
Hmm.
with all of those
Yeah.
things, and how we
Yes.
are kind of how we think we are, and we can
Yes.
have almost everything. Everything's fluid.
Absolutely.
Money, relationships,
Yes.
things are all, they come and go. They come and go. And just
Absolutely.
have to grab it when it's there, and
Yes.
be ready to
Yes.
release it when it's gone, because
Yes.
if you're in the right mindset, it's going to come back, and
Yes.
that's huge.
And one of the things that I've learned in this journey was, as fast as it can go away is as fast as it can arrive, and one of the most powerful traits that a human being can obtain and master is patience, because we want that instant gratification, that immediate satisfaction, but in
Yep.
that moment we can lose it just as quick. So if you are taking it step by step and making constant steps of action towards progress, you will achieve progression. I don't believe in anything as perfection, because that's what makes the human race integrated and allow us to learn from one another.
I love that. There's no such thing as perfection. And people
Just
keep saying
progression. Yes.
practice makes perfect. No, perfect practice makes perfect, but
Right.
we're not perfect. But practice makes you
Practice makes
better,
you polished.
makes you polished, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
the first dozen or so interviews I've done, or even speaking in public, were
Yes.
horrible. My first
Yes.
2 dozen YouTube videos were terrible,
Yes.
but you become better. I like that patience, because in
Yeah.
not just America, but the whole world, we want right now, especially in America.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that instant gratification, when we don't have it, then it's called like chasing that shiny nickel or shiny penny.
Exactly. The
I think
shiny
you know what I
objects. Yep.
mean. Well, I tried this business, it didn't work. I got to go somewhere else. You've only been in there
Yeah.
2 weeks. What do you mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And a law of attraction, that's you.
Oh
You
my gosh,
attract
I've been studying it for
what you
years.
want to
It's
attract. Yeah.
it's it's kind of scary. When you learn how to apply it and then master it, it's a little bit intimidating, intriguing, if you will, because
Mhm.
it's just like a light switch. You switch it on and off, and when you switch it on and you're all in, be prepared.
I I agree. Like you said, maybe you lived under a rock, no one knew you, but or you wasn't paying attention to what's going around you. But when you had something to say or something to share,
Yes,
people were
absolutely.
listening. Like, oh, Andrea, all right, you're
Yes.
here. That's pretty awesome. Tell,
Yes. I'll never
tell,
forget I
yeah,
never forget I did a TV show in Africa,
yeah.
and I was, first time, and I was so excited and so nervous. And so we did this segment, and I get a call from my extended family who lives overseas. They're like, "We saw you on TV." I was like, "What? What? You saw who?" And it's just humbling, because for me, my whole life has been behind the curtain, behind the scenes, helping other individuals. I don't want credit. I just want to help people, or if it because of the experience I endured, who's going to listen to me, and then just to propel into my passion and with the coaching of Dr. Les Brown, really making me comfortable with the uncomfortable now to be globally known is just amazing. It's just really rewarding and humbling.
I can't agree with you more. Almost nothing's overnight. We all
Right.
the doubt behind our backs and stuff, but we had to struggle to have even just a little bit of
Yes.
success. And
Yes.
just being continuously doing it and being
Yeah.
dedicated. And you talked a little bit about well, focus or have your blinders on, or
Yes.
like when your mother passed,
Yes.
and sometimes we have to change that. Sometimes focusing in one area is a bad thing, and sometimes it's good.
Right, and I lost 2 years of that.
Wow.
When my mother passed, I would go to the gravesite, which was a 45-minute drive one way every single day, regardless of rain, snow, sleet, state of emergency, if I was exhausted or had an event. For 2 years straight, every single day I went to her gravesite until someone snapped into me and my family members said, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this? She's here. You don't have to go see her. She's always with you." And I think that and I believe that was probably the best thing someone can really tune into me because I was just so focused. I got to see her gravesite. I got to talk to her. Like it was just that determination and drive that was a false limiting belief that that's the only place I could see her. That's the only place I could talk to her or connect with her. And it can blindside you and it can really set back a lot of things that you're either working to achieve or personally and professionally developing. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not progress. And
Yes,
our mom or dad or our loved ones don't want us to fall behind. They want us to keep moving ahead. That's
exactly.
for sure. Well, tell us a little bit about this play. Press
Yes.
play. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that.
Absolutely. So press play was developed several years back. As I mentioned, during my childhood years, I was a musician. I played the piano. I was able to learn at the age of 4 through listening music from a teacher, and then I was able to read music. And then in conjunction with that, I was an athlete. I was a soccer player. So I always loved playing. I just was that was my escape routes. That was my escape from the adversities of school, of bullying, of abuse. If there was even an argument at home that was something so minuscule, I was able to zone out in music or zone out on the field, or even if I went to a field and just practiced on my own. So as I had those outlets, I loved playing. I loved dancing. I loved being jovial. I love being happy. I love people. And as this was coming to fruition, I was like, wait, press play. Press play. Plan life according to you. And that's what I did with the tools and guides of my mentors, coaches, virtual coaches, and external influences. I was planning, okay, Matthew McConaughey, an American artist, pardon me, actor who I took his course as well, he stated in one of his speeches at a college was find out who you don't want to be, and then you'll realize who you truly are. Paraphrased, of course. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my goodness, if I have a vision, if I have a path and follow my passion, then I'm able to help others. But I need passion. And how do I have passion? What are my passions? Playing. So that was became the acronym to that. And so what I do is I'm a personal accountability coach, and it's the life transformational journey where I meet people where they're at and bridge the gap from where they are to where they deserve to be, whether they're lost, abandoned, victim of their own minds. As you mentioned earlier in the segment, that victim doesn't have to be of abuse or bullying. It actually can be with our own minds most of the time, of our own perspectives and perceptions. And so when that came to fruition, I just kind of followed and followed through with it, and it stuck. And I just like having fun with individuals. I've realized over the journey and the course of the years that I'm an extrovert as well as an empath. But in order to do that virtually in a two-dimensional world for now, It's pretty difficult because when the camera goes phase to black, all it is my thoughts. And as you know, for some times, if you don't have a support system, as my family is out all day because my business is home, you kind of get a little bit lost in your mindset as well.
I can relate to that. I can relate to
Yes.
that. And right, when I transform my coaching business to this, it's different because you're not
Yeah.
it takes a while to get to know someone because you're not necessarily seeing all those movements and how they
Right.
twitch and
Hmm.
twiddling their thumbs and
Yeah.
all those kind of different things, a nonverbal clue. So it takes a little bit longer.
Yes. Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so, what's some? Give us some tips. How do you find out about people? I know meet often takes couple meetings to get an idea what they really want.
Well, having the background and over 2 decades in social work and psychology, I've been able to understand the cultural diversities, morals, ethics, and values of everyone around the world, as well as the science and psychology behind it, why we do what we do or don't do we do. We are taught how to love. We are taught how to think, whether we want to admit it or not, by the immediate influences of our firsthand coaches, which is our caregivers, parents, teachers, and coaches in its wells, as well as the external influences that either shift the pendulum right or left. But what helps me is effective communication and effective listening. It's one thing to communicate with somebody, but it's also another area of attribute to adopt is to be ready to respond as opposed to react. How many times do you say, "How are you doing?" And you're like, "Yeah, fine." And then they talk about themselves, or you talk about a positive or unfortunate circumstance, and somebody always has to, it's kind of like a game of war. Oh, well, that happened to me too. That happened to me. I have trained and learned how to just observe someone. And in the first, to be quite honest, first couple of minutes of knowing them and watching their mannerisms, like you said, nonverbal cues, tonality, eye contact, body language, and so forth, within the first 3 to 5 minutes, I can pretty much dictate or, pardon me, not dictate, I'm very particular with my words, narrate the individual's life of what they've been through. And nine times out of 10, it usually ends in tears like, I don't even know you and I don't even understand how you can know what I've been through.
I get it. One of the things
Yeah.
in Toastmasters or any speaking organization, first thing you learn about communication is listening,
Yes.
observing, paying attention. It's not talking. Everyone thinking, oh, okay, I got to talk in public. Eventually, yeah, but pay attention to how other people are doing it and what they're trying to say to you non-verbally.
Exactly.
So that's a big deal. Well, anyways, tell us a little bit about how they can find your book and find out more about you.
Yes, absolutely. So my book is found on Amazon. It's still a process, a few steps to find, but it's under Amazon and it's under the category books, and you just type in Andrea Mason Victim to Victorious. I will provide Joe the link as well for the show notes, and it's on my media handles and found also at my website andreamasons.com, and where the link can be found. It's been not only a journey, but truly a humbling experience of closure for this book because, like I had mentioned earlier in this segment, I lived my life pretty much in a conservative, respectful, private realm. And to now go full disclosure and appreciate vulnerability and transparency, I see the effect and the impact it will have on a lot of people. Absolutely.
I agree with you, and then we appreciate you sharing with our audience a little bit about what you do and what your vision is, and how you're going to help other people. But before
Yeah.
I let you go, any
Yes.
last words of wisdom for all of those who are struggling with different challenges in their life?
Absolutely. I want everyone listening and watching today that to know that you're not alone. That is an important that anything that you've gone through gives you the permission and certification to help others achieve it too. And most importantly, as we have talking about all throughout this segment and the mission of life, follow your heart, not the herd nor the hurt, for success and joyfulness are on the other side.
I love that. Follow your heart and continue to follow yours, Andrea. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much for
you.
sharing. It's been a delight talking to you.
Oh,
It's a
thank you
lot
so
of
much for
fun.
having
So
me. Yes.
absolutely. So everyone, look up Andrea Mason. Obviously, real easy,
Yes.
AndreaMason.com to find out everything
Yes.
else he's involved with. And it's not
Yes.
just books, it's not just coaching, it's a lot of mentorship, a lot of other ideals that a lot of us can learn and grow from and maybe get out of our own funk because a lot of us get into
Absolutely.
funk. I know all about
Absolutely.
that. So
Absolutely.
anyway, you're in the office with Joseph Skoda, and it's always fun to bring a new guest out here. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Find out not just about me, but more importantly about our guests and how they're influencing the world in a positive way. So with that being said, I salute the world. Have fun, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Have fun now. Bye. If you liked our show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on any social media platform, Instagram, of course, Facebook. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts and join our team. Anyways, we appreciate you staying tuned week after week, day after day, because we continuously build up our network to bring to you what you're asking for. Have a great day.